don't think I used to have this mentality whereby I would be like, oh gosh, look at my age and look at where I wanted to be. You know, when you're young, you're so ambitious. You tell yourself that by the time I'm at a certain age, I have to have a job and maybe be married with 3 PhDs and stuff. But at the end of the day, you find that you've barely finished one degree. By that age, you're still struggling to make.
I'm Peace.
And my name is Malik Joseph. And today we just wanted to talk about a topic that I believe most of us are familiar with, which is the pressure to succeed. It could be financial in your case, it could be academic in other people's cases, but today we just wanted to focus on the financial part of it. The pressure to succeed, the pressure to have a job and start your own family in Africa. So that's what we'll be discussing in today's conversation.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have a few prompt questions, but I just want to know if Miss Marcella has something to add to that intro.
I have nothing. It's just the pressure is getting worse. It hurts to see like your age mates succeeding and you're just there receiving pocket money from your family.
Well, but I don't think
Like it's different. Like for someone who is like me who would want to like earn for themselves without like depending on someone.
Yeah.
I don't feel okay. I just want to work on my own and get the money myself. But some people are just like, okay, it's fine as long as I'm receiving money and that's it.
Well, wouldn't that be considered as covetousness? Like you're just wishing you were in your friend's shoes? Because we all have different experiences. We're all on our different unique journeys and stuff. So I personally don't think I used to have this mentality whereby I would be like, oh gosh, look at my age and look at where I wanted to be. You know, when you're young, you're so ambitious. You tell yourself that by the time I'm at a certain age, I have to have a job and maybe be married with 3 PhDs and stuff. But at the end of the day, you find that you've barely finished one degree. By that age, you're still struggling to make it. But as time went on, I began to accept that we're all in our own unique paths and journeys in life. So I feel like looking at other people and comparing your success to theirs is a bit wrong, in my opinion.
It's not like comparing. You're just like, okay, I want to be where they are.
Right.
But I don't see that coming anytime soon. Like, what steps am I supposed to take to reach where they are? And most of the time, they don't really like give you like the clear steps to like succeed in what they are doing. Everyone is just like, those TikToks. How to earn, I don't know how
Work
much,
hard,
1,000 in a week.
Yeah.
Side hustle, watch my videos.
Most of those are usually fake.
I
Trust
know.
me.
And that's how they're earning money, by people subscribing to their teaching.
Those things that they keep promoting, and all
Exactly.
they're selling courses and stuff.
So you don't know what's real out there.
Okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding your point, but I feel like wanting to be where someone is wrong.
What do you mean?
Because saying that you've said something along the lines of
You can
wanting to be. I mean, you can look to someone for inspiration, but you can't. You will never be in the same place in life with that person.
No, I know.
Yeah.
You can never like just seeing their lifestyle. That's what I want.
Oh,
to
you mean
achieve.
like you want to reach a point where you can
I can at least
make certain
pay
decisions
my own
for
rent.
yourself.
I can
Right.
buy the cars that I want,
Right.
such things, but not like what they do, their lifestyle. Of course, I'm not following that. I'm
Right.
just talking about the finance part, like achieving whatever I want to buy.
I feel like this. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding you there, but I get the point now. It's clearer. But let me just get on to the questions. All right. So the first question is, how do you define success, and how do you think societal and parental expectations influence this definition? How do you define success as Peace Marcelo?
Success.
Right.
I feel like success is just achieving that goal.
Right.
Like, for example, if you just like, I want to buy a bag, and then you get the money and you go buy it, that's a success. Accomplishing something, it's success. But people like try to like undermine the little things
That they
and
achieve.
think that success is you graduating with like first class. Success is you getting that job that you wanted. Yeah.
Well, I think I would define success as finding a rhythm in your life where you're comfortable. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be things that you need in your life, people that you need to take care of, and sacrifices that you must make. So I think it's a matter of finding that rhythm where you're comfortable. You know, you're not comfortable, but you're
Like,
comfortable
what do
with
you
being
mean by
uncomfortable from time to time. Like you're comfortable with being uncomfortable. I can give an example of. I wouldn't call it an example, but let's take for instance a man that wants to buy for his family a bigger house, right? Yeah. So he will get that. Like he will have to work hard to achieve that, gets that house for the family. I mean, but in order to get to that position, he had to like literally make a few sacrifices, maybe cut down on his spending, maybe work extra hours, or maybe even get a second job, try to get a second hustle, a side hustle rather. So it's not like it was easy to achieve it, but he was comfortable with putting himself in that position where he will be uncomfortable so that he could achieve that goal. So I believe it's finding a rhythm where you're okay with the ups and downs of life. That's, I think, how I would define it.
That's how you define success.
Probably,
so
yeah.
For you right now, you're successful. Or
Well,
is there a rhythm in your life?
there's no, not really. I'm lazy as fuck, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, I would say that I'm at a place where I look at things differently. I don't look at them from that pitiful eyes, like as if the world is against me. I see that in order for me to achieve anything, I'm not a victim. I need to go out there and push myself to try to achieve those things. And when certain things are beyond my reach, it doesn't mean that that's the end of it, right? It just simply means that I've reached a wall that maybe I need to build a ladder, yeah?
One thing
And
for
try to
sure
climb
is
over.
nothing is impossible.
Nothing
it's
is-
just
yeah.
us like holding ourselves back.
Well, there's also society to blame sometimes. Your environment can limit you. Where you are, like where you're born, it can literally choke the life out of you sometimes.
Yeah.
I can give you an example as a girl, right? You're from South Sudan. And we have these expectations of ladies, right? In South Sudan. Of course, right now things are changing. People are a little bit more educated. But we still have these expectations of women whereby, we're just getting used to the idea of women being in the job market and taking big roles and maybe even sometimes putting their careers before their families. But to the larger part, like for the most part right now, we still have these expectations of women, especially in South Sudan or maybe even in Africa generally, right? Whereby we expect women to get married, by the time they finish with school. We never really think.
I feel like it's how, like, the exposure. Like, for example, if you put someone who grew up, let's say, in Kenya right now, and someone who grew up in South Sudan, they won't have the same ideas or goal in life because of the exposure. It doesn't mean that because I'm expected to do this, I'm supposed to follow.
Well, but
like you're supposed to get married, okay, I'll follow.
Yeah.
But if that person is exposed to be like, you can have different kind of life, you can do this, you can achieve this on your own, they'll have choices to make, because that's the only choice they're given. You're expected to do this, and they're not seeing any other way of succeeding.
Well, in other words, to you, like the society doesn't limit you or limit the possibilities of what you can achieve as a woman or as a young man?
It doesn't limit you when you're exposed to the outer world. But if you're just in one place like the village, you don't see any inspiration or you don't see any other way out than just the normal way of living there.
Will you still be successful to your society though? Because they might expect you to be married, let's say, by 23, 24, 25, right? As a woman, for instance?
Well, success is my own thing. I don't need to.
Well, now we're talking about the pressures to succeed, not just
for myself. I'm not talking
yourself.
about anyone else. For myself.
Well, there's those
society. They'll always have their, what is it called?
How about your parents, let's say, for instance, or
success
your family,
to my family.
your relatives, success to your family.
It's graduating, of course.
Right.
Getting a good job. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to the next question. What are some common pressures young men and women face in terms of achieving success, and how do these pressures differ based on gender? So according to you, what are some common pressures that young men and women face? It could be in South Sudan, it could be in Kenya, it could be in Africa, or even things that you've seen from around the
I
world.
feel like pressure for ladies is mostly like
Yeah.
marriage. Like when you reach a certain age, you're expected to like get married. For men is finance.
You
have
need to be
like,
able to
stable.
provide and stuff, yeah.
Yes. So
But how do you think they differ? Like, do you think, like comparing Africa and maybe other countries like the Western countries, right? Do you feel like they have different? Do you feel like they have different expectations of women and different expectations of men, or did the fine line between those two different genders get blurred
for
out?
Africa, I can only speak for Africa, but for the US, I don't know whether women are also expected to like be financially stable. I'm not sure about that, but for Africa, it doesn't really matter that much as long as you just finish like your university.
Yeah.
And the next thing is just finding yourself a rich man. But
Well-
for men, regardless, you guys have to like.
Regardless, true. But I think it differs in the sense that when you look at the Western countries or those the so-called first world countries, the people tend to be a little bit more individualistic. So success is just according to you, like
Exactly.
where you feel like you're comfortable in life.
Yeah.
If you're okay with working at McDonald's or working at KFC for the rest of your life, there's some people that literally do that for 50, 70 years, yeah, working in one location, and it's these are the so-called what do you call them? These small jobs.
Blue collar? Is it
No.
blue collar?
Well, not that. Well, yeah, sure they could be called that, but I mean like there are these wages, yeah. Yeah, they're okay with
Part time.
yeah, not part time. Some people literally do that.
Side jobs.
Not side jobs. To some people, those are side jobs, but to others, it's like their whole life.
Exactly.
But yeah, they
you
just
get to define
Yeah.
everything in your life.
yeah. So to them, it's a bit more individualistic. But when you come to Africa, let me talk about South Sudan to be specific. In South Sudan, as a man, there's a lot more that's expected of you. Whether you are doing it, it's more communal, let me say. You're expected to be able to provide not just for your future wife, but you have to provide for your younger sisters.
And even
you know.
have family, like your
Yeah.
in-laws.
Yeah, you can even you'll have in-laws, and we live in very, very extended families. So I think that's, as a man,
Do
you're
you think
expected
it's a bad thing
to live in these extended families.
for like the man to provide like for the whole family and all that?
No,
It's not.
it's not a bad thing because I feel like.
But do you
men-
think it's okay to like at least change that? Like, is it okay for like a lady to contribute to also the family finance?
Well, in today's world, of course, it's necessary. I mean, let me not call it necessary because it's not yet a must in Africa, right? In Africa today, someone can just be like, okay, fine, I'm the man, I'm going to provide. I don't care whether you have 10 degrees as a lady. I'm able to afford the life that we want to live, right? I can afford for all the kids that we're going to make. That's it. But in actual sense, it's acceptable for the lady to be able to provide as well, to contribute to the finances and stuff. But I feel like that is slowly eroding whatever culture that we had, because kids are now being raised on Western media, and they're being raised by the streets. I don't mean that in any pun way, but like kids are literally being raised by whatever they learn from their friends from school. It's actually schools that are raising our kids today. So you don't get to instill the family value into the kids. So this is a personal opinion. I feel like it's okay to have all that money, but if your kids are not being raised well, at least if you guys are not making time, if it's okay if like not one of you is remaining at home to take care of the kids, it's fine. Both of you can work, but if you're not making enough time to raise your kids, watch how they are growing and try to, make sure that they're good people out there. I feel like money is just useless at the end of the day, So that's just a personal opinion. But what I was saying is that in Africa, it's expected that a man has to provide not just for the future wife or for the future kids or the family or
I
whatever.
think it's like from the Bible, so yeah.
Yeah.
The man is a provider.
the breadwinner. You have to sweat and all that stuff. You have to toil, and I feel.
And it's not like women are just seated there doing nothing.
True.
It's what they are supposed to do. So they should not be like, oh, yeah, I'm the one providing for this family. I'm even tired.
Yeah.
Because the women are also taking care of the house. They're doing everything. Your work is just to what? Get the money.
Yeah, it's division of labor, in other words.
Exactly.
And do you feel like a lot of women complain about that these days? The idea that they have to take care of their kids. Do you feel like a lot of modern women complain about that?
Yes, because they feel like they are doing now what their men supposed to do. Like most women right now, they take care of their house, and also they're expected to what? Provide financially to their family. So,
well, true.
So
I guess
feel like the burden is a lot on them.
So you mean that's where the complaints tend to come from? The
Yes.
fact that they're providing and they're taking care of the house as well.
Yeah.
I never really looked at it that way.
Yeah, that's why this thing of what is it called? You're supposed to pay your house. House
The rent, utilities, and stuff.
No. If you want
mortgage,
a house,
the mortgage, right?
No. Like if you want a homestay wife,
Oh,
you have to pay
Yeah.
her to stay home.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. For real?
For her not to go to work, you have to pay her for staying at home.
Is that law?
I don't know if it's a law, but there's a thing like that. I think in Kenya there is. Yeah.
Does it make sense though? Because if you're providing for everything, you're giving her allowance.
Yeah, it's like allowance, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it would make sense for you to, give out some cash to spoil herself from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that she has to be home. And it's okay. I think
It's her
there are very
choice,
many
though.
jobs. There are very many jobs that women can also do from home, like online and stuff like that, right? So I think it depends on the woman that you're talking about. or
Yeah,
the
it's
gender.
her choice, though.
True. Anyway, on to the next one. That's question 3. Have you personally experienced pressure from parents or society to conform to certain standards of success? And how did it affect you?
Conforming.
Have you had to do certain things that you did not want to do, but you had to do it because society expects that of you, as maybe a lady or as a human being in that specific society?
You answer.
I can't really think of something in particular that I
Like
had to
you-
conform. Yeah.
To conform to. Like right now, for me, like I'm doing like a STEM course.
Yeah.
So I'm not supposed to do things other than that, like beauty and fashion and that.
Right.
When I brought the idea to my mom, she was like, no, you're supposed to, your what? Your profession is something, it's totally different from what you want.
What you want to do.
Exactly. So you're told to just stick on that path because they're scared maybe you'll end up
Stray.
you'll end up focusing on the other one which they don't like, which is not like, what is it called? The ideal profession.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think that.
Well, I can think of a few micro examples, but I can't think of any particular moment where I had to conform to us. I think it's different for boys, actually.
So boys are allowed to.
I mean, no, I wouldn't say they're allowed to. I could give an example of maybe my cousin bro. You might know him, but he wanted to play football, and for the longest time, I mean, he got signed to so many great football teams. He had also been accepted, I think, by Liverpool. He really wanted to go to Arsenal in England. But for the longest time, he had been trying to convince the people at home that, I really want to do this. And let me just say that my dad was not okay with it at first, for a couple of years. And he was listening to advice from the wrong kinds of people. And by the time he had accepted to
and that's
sponsor,
one thing with African parents. They love listening from outside instead of just trusting
their kid and
their
maybe
kid.
trying to understand
But-
that that's a human being and they know what's good for them as well.
But we get it, we were raised by the whole community. So when they
Takes a
say
village,
something is
yeah.
bad, means this, they are kind of right.
But sometimes it's not always bad. For his case,
Yeah, it's not always bad.
Yeah. For his case, it wasn't bad.
But as long as you believe in yourself and you're really good at what you do,
Yeah.
then it's fine. But I feel like if you want to pursue that, you should at least have a side hustle, like do some courses, because the future is never guaranteed. You can never take your degree away.
It's okay to have the degree and all that stuff, but it's
also,
not the only
way. Pursue that?
It's not him, like for his case, or what?
Yeah, for like football.
I mean, for you to be accepted in a league, yeah, like it was under 18 league by then.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was done. I don't know. I don't remember the name of that, but he was playing for League Ndogo here in Kenya. He was in one of the biggest teams here. Then now he was. There are these scouts that usually move around and stuff. So some people approached him and they're like, "You've got talent and all that stuff. Would like to take you, train you."
Oh,
then yeah.
He was actually approached.
Yeah, he was approached. Yeah.
Oh.
He was approached.
Then
So
easier.
that's where he got the idea
Yeah.
that okay, fine. I think I could take it to the next level. I have a passion for this thing.
Yeah.
And I could take it to the next level. So they wasted time trying to convince dad and the guys at home that this is what he wants to do. And by the time dad came to terms with the idea that okay, fine, this is what he really wants to do, and I think it would be good. It was a bit too late. Like by his age, they couldn't take him to train and all that stuff. So it's like they had already killed the morale in him.
Yeah, true.
So he had to conform to that.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best example that I could give.
But for people who are watching, if you're going through that right now, I feel like the best way is just to push yourself and try to make them believe. They'll actually give up. Like, say, I want to do this, I'm gonna succeed, I want to do this. Like, keep reassuring them that you want this. Because if they know you're also unsure and you're just waiting for them to say yes, then they'll be like, no, maybe you're not even sure of your dreams. So
I mean, the best thing to
try to get like allies, like talk to your auntie, talk to your uncle, try to
people
talk to your dad.
who probably understand
exactly
the dream better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
because sometimes, like our parents, I'm not calling them dumb, but sometimes they have a different way of looking at life.
Exactly.
They still have this old-fashioned way: school, degree, work, get married, die.
Yeah.
That's how they live life, and that's how they see it. But they may never understand that maybe you want to become an influencer and you've gotten such a big contract and stuff. And they may never understand that maybe you have a chance to go play basketball somewhere and all that stuff. So sometimes it's good to get allies, like what you've just said. Get people that will understand it so that you can they can help you explain it to them
like
better.
me when I wanted to do like my makeup training.
Yeah.
Like it was just a training for 2 weeks. And my mom was like, you better do a leadership course. I was like, it's just 2 weeks and I was on holiday. Like, why would you stop me from just going to learn about makeup?
Right.
So I had to tell my auntie, I had to tell my brother, they had to talk to her. Then she was like, okay, fine. And I did it and nothing happened to me. Nothing changed.
Yeah. So it was good that you got some allies, some people to
exactly
help explain it to
and you don't have to like give up.
Yeah.
As long as it's not affecting anything that they want you to become, I don't think it should be a problem.
True. All right, on to the next question. How do cultural and societal factors contribute to the pressure to succeed? Are there specific cultural or societal expectations that can be particularly challenging? So how do cultural and societal factors contribute to the pressure to succeed?
Societal.
Yeah. Like if you look at South Sudan, for instance, because you've gone to high school there, right? And also did most of your primary there. How do you think that environment affects the pressure to succeed?
Pressure to succeed in South Sudan.
It could be
for a lady. I don't see
a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure because
you're expected to get married to a rich man at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like the end goal is to get married and have kids, and that is it. Not.
So more of the pressure is on the men in South Sudan, in other words.
Yes, more of the pressure is on the men. Like, how many cars do you have? Do you own a house? What kind of job are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But if you had to look at it this way, do you think it's fair or it makes sense that a lot of pressure has to be on the men, yet both men and women have access to the same level of education in the country? Do you feel like that's kind of like unfair judgment in a way?
I don't think so. It's just how people have grown and how people have seen things.
Alright, comparing it to Kenya, because you've also gone to high school here. Like, do you feel like you've had some Kenyan friends, obviously.
I feel like in Kenya it's more like 50-50. Like you don't have to like earn as much as a man,
right.
but at least you have to have a job, or at least you've graduated like at a certain level.
But the same standard is not there for the South Sudanese ladies.
I don't think so, but it's coming up right now. It depends on the communities where you come from. Like from my community, from my mom's tribe, they take education very seriously,
Right.
and their bride price is very high. So if
How many cows?
They don't do cows, they
No.
money. So
Yeah.
if you graduated like at a degree level, it will be different from a master's level. So yeah, it depends on the community. In your tribe, I don't think the ladies,
Well-
the education doesn't really matter as long as you're like tall, and
Tall,
you're dark.
beautiful, you're dark,
Exactly.
you have white teeth and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I believe that's
That's like wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, but it doesn't mean that they don't expect certain things from women. Like they expect them to carry themselves a certain way because
No, like financial. I'm just talking about the finance part.
well, financially, well, they don't really.
They're not expected.
No, not really.
Yeah.
And the bride prices is in money and cows
Yeah.
for us. 500 cows plus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they don't really expect much from ladies as much as they do from men.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next question. How does the pressure to succeed? Oh no, sorry, I've skipped one. How do parental expectations influence the pursuit of success? Do you think these expectations are primarily motivated by a desire for their child's well-being or something else? Do you feel like all the things that your parents expect out of you come from them wanting you to have a good, happy, successful life? Or do you feel like it comes, some of it might be motivated by the fact that they're a little bit old-fashioned? I'm talking about all parents in general, not just yours.
Like for you to succeed.
Like, yeah, let me see. Do you feel like a lot of African parents will push you to do certain things so that you can succeed, and the motivation to push you, right, might come from the fact that they want you to just have like a good, happy, healthy life? Or do you feel like sometimes it may come from the fact that they don't know much about what's really happening in today's world and the definitions of
like
success? Yeah.
them pushing you is to have a happy life, because they're taking you to school
Yeah.
so that you can be successful. They want you to get married so that you're seen as successful to the society. I don't think it's
So generally it comes from them wanting you to be happy and successful, but part of it could also involve the way they are perceived in society as well. Like, oh, so and so's daughter is married,
Exactly.
or so and so's son has such a big car and stuff like that.
exactly. They take much pride in like being
Yeah.
like them saying, "Oh, my daughter is a doctor, my son is a lawyer." Yeah, and even having like a lot of children.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess that makes sense.
yeah.
So generally, parents want us to succeed, not they don't have ulterior motives. They just want us to be happy.
I have a question. If you're to compare like the number of young people working in the Western world
Yeah.
and the number of people working in Africa, I feel like there is more than here.
Why?
I feel like because when you reach like a certain age, you're told to like move out. So you start thinking
You're pushed.
independently.
Yeah.
You start thinking about your freedom, your financial, where you're going to eat from. Blah, blah, blah. But in Africa, you're kept in the house till you marry someone. Till like 29, you're still depending on your parents, and they don't want to even tell you to go and get a job. They're just there begging you
And
instead.
they would actually feel offended if you
Yeah.
asked to stay out.
Exactly.
Yeah, in a different place.
Yeah, and I feel like parents need to now, what is it called? Be strong to let their children go and be their own person, because I feel like when you let people out in the world, they can now think independently and try to innovate things, try to look for creative ways to make money instead of just keeping them and making their life comfortable.
But do you think that sometimes they have a right to ask or to sort of make their kids stay with them until maybe they're able to stand for themselves, like by getting married and stuff? Because some people use the whole staying outside thing as an excuse to maybe misbehave and stuff. sometimes. So do you feel like sometimes it's okay, it makes sense for them?
No.
Because
Well,
there's
the
so many.
misbehaving part, I get it. Yeah, like when you're brought up in like an African household,
There's
for
so
you
much.
to even sleep outside the house is
Yeah.
a miracle. So when you get an opportunity to go out, of course you'll misbehave. So that's why they like to keep you indoors, because they are scared that you'll go misbehave, because you've created this environment for a child, like very strict, like you can't go out, you can't do this, so you have to keep them until they get their own house now. Yeah. So I feel like it's good to like have trust in your children.
Well, I don't mean to sound old-fashioned, but I would personally sort of agree with our parents.
Like how?
Like, let's look at it this way. We live in a world that is very liberal, right? Like today's society is very liberal. Like drinking has become so normal and commonplace. And
you feel like them being strict
like,
kind of give you that.
It like okay.
Mindset.
I don't agree with them being strict without educating you, like on why they're being strict. They don't really educate maybe, and that's what the problem is. They are scared to have conversations on certain topics, and I feel like that's wrong. But having like that strictness, but with education guidelines, and because at the end of the day, even if your kid goes out and comes back by 1 p.m, they can still do all the drinking, all the weird stuff, that you're trying to protect them from. So at the end of the day, education matters, but too much freedom can also be very catastrophic for the most part. We've seen so many young...
You mean freedom at a young age?
Freedom at a young age. We've seen how people behave when they come to college and to university, right? You'll see how like they become so liberal and so open. And I feel like
freedom when you're staying, of course you'll have to be home by this time. Tell me, they are more free to tell you things if you just tell them, or instead of telling them, don't go to this place. Today you're not going out. Take your brother with you if you're going this place. You get? Like you can give them freedom, but you can still monitor them. That way they won't.
True.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they can still they can go out for 30 minutes and they'll be back.
Exactly. Because they're like, okay, my parents trust me, so I don't have to like fail them. I don't have to fail their trust. Is it fail their trust?
But I have a question. Do you feel like women tend to be a little bit more liberal compared to men or boys? Like women tend to be a little bit more explorative in certain things. Like let's talk about drinking, for instance, right? Drinking? No, that doesn't make sense. Let's talk about like how, like in terms of, do you think men tend to hold on to family values more than women in today's world? Like when they're dating and stuff, right? Do you think a lot of women are open to the idea of, let's say, casual dating? This is just, I'm trying to see how you can support your point that our parents are sometimes wrong to keep us in the house, right? And personally, I believe they're not entirely always wrong. They're only wrong in the part where they don't educate us on the things that we should watch out for in the world, things that we should avoid. And maybe they don't try to instill that strong mentality to discern and to be able to tell the difference between what's going to harm us and what's going to protect us. So do you feel like women tend to be a little bit more liberal and accepting of certain things, good or bad, than boys?
It all goes back to how we were raised. For example, a man can just go out from morning and come back in the evening. He won't be asked. For a lady to go out, you have to tell them where you're going, or you have to be escorted with someone, and you're not supposed to be there out all alone. All this. So maybe when they like reach a certain age, of course, I don't know, maybe ladies tend to be more, what is it called, crazier than them.
Let's call it liberal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to freedom aspect.
Let's look at it this way. The reason why I'm trying to still defend our parents' decision is because, let's look at it this way.
I'm not disagreeing with them. I'm just saying you should give them freedom,
And the
Not
knowledge.
like freedom, oh, you can sleep out for like 2 nights or what.
Yeah.
Give them freedom for like, let them feel like they are comfortable telling you that they are going out and they'll be back at this time. Like they are more, they can
Think for themselves.
think or
Make decisions or discern life. Navigate life. Try to find the word.
anyway, they'll come back.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm looking at it this way, especially for women, I'm beginning to sound like I'm going to be a strict father, but
I feel like the pressure is more on ladies when we're young. So it's obvious that they will, what is it called? Break the ice.
well, the reason I'm saying this, right? It's because societally, everywhere you go, like it's usually the men that will try to approach the lady, right? And sometimes men can be very tricky. Yeah, they can be, oh, let's just go grab some few drinks, and the next thing you know, you're taking 1,000 shots, and we know what alcohol does to people. Like it makes you open to certain things, right? You do things that you wouldn't do otherwise, and at the end of the day, the more you keep doing it, you feel like that's normal. Like it becomes normal to you as a human being, not just as a lady, but as a man, right? That's doing that. You may drink and then you're shouting at the rooftop, you're dancing and all that stuff, right? Wildly. And maybe even embarrassing yourself. So I feel like the reason why there's usually more pressure on women to stay at home with their parents until they're married, it's simply because men out there are full of tricks. Yeah? And you might be strong at heart. They might know, they might even trust you, but they just don't trust the people out there, the men out there. And some of them could be even your close friends, you know?
Your question was, are women more liberal, right?
Yeah. Like I was trying to relate it to the fact that our parents probably, yes, you agree with me, but I'm trying to relate it to the fact that our parents may not be in wrong for the most part, yeah, to keep us at home until maybe we have our own house, because they feel like when we have responsibility, we all know that, and I don't
You feel like women will go out there and drink.
Not all women, no.
A few will do that.
A few will do that, yes, but we live in a very crazy world, like I said.
Even those at home drink like shit.
And not just, they do. It comes down to the person, the mind that they have, yeah. But I feel like there's a bit more monitoring when you know what your kid does, right?
That's the thing with like monitoring. I feel like outside there, I don't think there are so many drunkards compared to here, the way I'm just seeing. I feel like young people know what they want in life. But they don't drink until you don't know yourself. They don't drink until they spoil all their organs compared to here. Like I've seen so many
in Africa,
cases.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
and it all comes down to like, oh, my parents got my back. My this got my back. But there it's like I'm alone. So
there, even if they
I'm
have
to drink, I'm supposed to drink this type,
Yeah.
this amount. So it's all about
Is it still
how
on?
we spoiled our
top. But I think the audio has got from there. Sorry. It's on, right?
Anyway, let's
Okay, before we move on, one more question. Like, maybe it's not a question, let me just make it a statement. I feel like when you look at those outside countries, right? When they're raising their kids, they don't just, they find this doing something wrong, then they boom, beat you. No. I feel like they will take time, from the time that you're young, right? Sit down with you, try to explain why what you did was wrong and how it's going to affect you. So you will not only learn from that, even if they're to take out the belt and whip you later on, right? You will have that warning, but at the end of the day, your mind will also have grown from that. You won't just fear, you will somehow understand, you know? And even if, as you're young, you don't understand, you'll feel like, you know something about it, and it's wrong. And as you grow, you begin to learn that, okay, fine, this is wrong. But here in Africa, it's just like, oh, I caught you drinking, boom, boom, boom. Then alcohol is bad, bad, bad. You don't try to take time, to talk to your kids from the time that they're young, right? To give them that mentality.
I feel like it's now the responsibility of these upcoming parents to start learning new ways of parenting, because our moms were also raised like that, so they have not seen any ways of raising their children apart from beating, and they're even shy to have such conversations with them, because if you're doing something bad, why am I coming to talk to you about it? You must know that it's bad, so cane.
Yeah.
So they don't know the mental stuff that goes behind
Yeah.
the reason why that person is drinking.
So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're just fucked up. So,
Yeah.
So, okay. On to the next question. How does the pressure to succeed impact mental health and well-being in young men and women? Are there any coping mechanisms or strategies to navigate this pressure effectively? That takes us back to what we were just from talking about.
I am depressed.
Some people literally...
You just like,
yeah.
you see your age mates, they are going for vacation, and you're here.
But some of them have sugar daddies.
No, I'm talking about those with legit jobs, like content creators.
Oh, yeah.
You see, and then those ones who, I don't know, those jobs like side hustle.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
But
depressing.
okay, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like sometimes you just come up with excuses?
Excuse.
Because I feel like
You
there's
feel
so
like
many. You have some.
Instead
like,
of complaining,
it's
better to just go and do it.
No, there are certain things that obviously you wouldn't be expected to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just start saying, "Oh, for crying out loud, I'm going to travel to Italy. I'm going to travel to."
It's not like
all
you're
over
not
Europe and all that
trying. Like, for example, you're trying all that they are doing, but you're not succeeding.
Well,
'Cause
no.
you're gonna be
Okay,
depressed.
let me give you this. Yeah, let's say let's talk about your makeup thing, for instance, right? You tried it. Okay, you tried to bring it up to them before you had to get other people to support you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You brought it up to them, and at first they were not okay with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But later on, when people spoke to them, they were okay with it. Now, I wouldn't, let's say they had refused, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You went to them and they're like, no, you are never doing this. No, no way. Focus on your studies and come back here, work, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they had done that, it doesn't mean that, that's like, because people succeed in different ways. There are different ways to succeed. And those people, sometimes there's a bit of luck, there's a bit of experience, there's a bit of maybe persistence or perseverance for them, right? So I feel like maybe in the little things that we don't succeed at, that we maybe brought up to our parents and we blame them, we just use that as an excuse.
No, I'm saying it's okay to feel like you're stressed, because, like, I feel like it's a normal feeling to feel like you're not where you want to be. Like, it's okay.
I mean, like in relation to your parents now.
What?
Like our parents, let me say, generally speaking. Do you feel like sometimes we will try certain few
I will
things?
not,
yeah.
like,
Blame.
I will not take it as an excuse for me not succeeding.
Yeah.
I know success is all my effort.
Yeah.
Like, I have to put in the work to get where I want. But you can't be depressed. Like, depression can even make you not work.
So this comes from seeing your friends living certain lifestyles that maybe you feel like you should also be at that level,
Like,
in life.
yeah, even like your own personal goals. You're just like, I want to be here, but there are some things that are holding you back.
Right.
Yeah. So it's hard. Instead of you doing now, you're still focused on the depression.
Well, I would agree on the part where sometimes maybe you look at your life, you'll see the people that you went to the same school with, maybe, like you said, traveling, living their lives and all that stuff. But it comes down to what I said at the beginning, that it's up to you to define where you want to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
First look at where you are, then clearly plan out where you want to go in life.
No, that's ways to get out of that depression.
Ways to get out of that depression, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the more you dwell on that depression, you'll never really get out of that little, cave that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to push yourself
Mm-hmm.
as a human being. Decide, okay, fine, I haven't finished my degree and I'm 41, yeah? And I don't have a job, I'm taking way too many drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking way too much alcohol. How do I get out of this?
Yeah.
So sit down, be honest with yourself. Sometimes we're dumb, Sometimes we do so many things that are damaging us, We may party too much, we may make too many excuses, we may procrastinate way too much as well, be lazy as well. So I feel like in order for you to feel like, before you before you point fingers at the environment that you're in, or the parents, or whatever it is that whatever safeguards that they've put around you, take a look at your own failings as a human being. See where your shortcomings are, and then redefine your goals. Don't look at the people that are around you. Yes, people will always be more successful than you. That's a fact. There will always be one person that's much better than you, or that has a car that you want, a house that you want, or is living a lifestyle that you sometimes envy. Not that you would want it completely, right? But you sometimes envy. But envy will kill whatever drive that you can have right now to get you to.
And I feel like also there's this thing that Jackie Aina.
Yeah.
She's a YouTuber, like a guru.
Right.
Yeah. She said in her video, she was like gratitude is very important.
Right.
Like
being grateful for you.
Be grateful for every little thing you have, every little thing you have.
Yeah.
So, for example, like you'll be feeling bad about your life, but someone else wants your life.
True.
So it's good to always like write the things that you've accomplished, the positive, dwell on the positive than the negative, because if you're all negative, it's gonna like lower your energy on doing something else.
Right.
But if you have something positive, you'll be so energetic to do something else, like to move on. For example, if I post a video, like a YouTube video, and I get like, let's say 1K,
Right.
it will motivate me to do something, to motivate me to what? Post another one. But if I'm too well on the fact that, I don't even have followers, like my followers are so low, why am I even posting?
Yeah.
You get?
Yet so and so has 500,000 subscribers.
So you should always dwell on the positive.
True. Because I feel like the more we think about how shitty our lives are, am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know, maybe YouTube will.
Well, I feel like the more we dwell on how terrible our lives are, it's like we fail to be grateful, first of all, for the things that we have, the people that have been there for us, and it's like we're insulting God's blessings as well by saying, oh gosh, I don't have a car, look at my life. Because for the most part, where you are today is where you wished 10 years ago you would be, you know?
True.
So even if it's not the best, you somehow wished for the life that you have right now.
We are always like
progressing.
We always want something new and forget the things that we've accomplished.
Which is okay.
It's like you're zero, but you're somewhere. You've reached like, I don't know.
Which is fine. It's okay to always have desires and new ambitions.
But don't feel bad.
But don't envy anyone's life, because you might see someone sitting in the fanciest car, but you don't know what's going on in their minds or what they had to do to get there.
Exactly.
So
you might be happy, but with no money, and that person with money and happy. Someone else, ladies, I'd rather shake my ass on a hat. What? I'd rather what? Cry on a Bentley than be happy with in a what?
With a broke husband?
Yeah.
So it generally just be grateful for where you are in life. Be grateful for the things that you have, and it's okay to want more, but don't envy anyone while you're doing that. Make you're your own person. Honestly, you're your own person. You're unique, and you have your own talents and skills, and those can take you somewhere that other people might even envy. But the point is, don't envy anyone. Make a plan and push yourself out. Well, okay, this might not make sense, but I have a friend that we did petroleum engineering together with, and the guy is now doing like something totally different from whatever it is that he studied, and he said that whatever it is that you learned back in college or university, you will never use that knowledge. They will not ask you to write Pythagoras theorem on any whatever. Yeah, of course there's calculations involved, but they will always teach you new ways of how to do that particular job. So I feel like the education system is failing us for the most part. It's only teaching us to be obedient, to submit our assignments in time. I feel like the education system can be reformed. I can give you an example of, I don't know, it's a European country. I can't remember if it's Finland or Sweden or where, but the education system is very relaxed. They don't have homework, they don't have exams. But if you sit them down with people from other countries, right, and you give them the same exam, you'll see that they're passing, excelling higher, right? Today's education system is forcing us, I think, to follow. It doesn't teach us to be independent.
Ours is just like cram,
Yeah,
the
you
only
should do
way
the Chinese
cram.
one.
You know
Yeah.
what?
It doesn't give us,
And also the financial literacy is very, very, very important.
and they don't teach us that.
They don't really teach.
Do you even know how to do your taxes?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do South Sudanese even do taxes?
Do you have? What do you mean?
We do taxes, right? I mean, like pay your taxes and like what's the percentage for whatever businesses and stuff? Your job, how much are you supposed to pay in taxes? And there's in other countries there's a way you calculate your taxes and whatever.
We're
right?
just like taught to work for someone instead of
Learning how to be.
your own boss and employ other people.
But
You're
do you
told-
think the world would make sense if everyone was their own boss?
Not really. Like, I don't know. You know, some people, it's like the only way for you to succeed is when you're employed. You get, and
Yeah.
then when you don't get that employment, or you don't succeed with that grade that you want, you become so hopeless. Like, you don't know what to do with your life now. Okay, now I failed school. Now what else? Because you're not taught that you can be bad in school, but you can also succeed somewhere else. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you're good at some skill, but then your parents always tell you, oh, you're supposed to read, you're supposed to get an A on this, but your
Yeah.
brain cannot even allow you because you're gifted in something else,
Yeah.
but you're not given that opportunity to explore that gift.
Well, I don't remember.
I think we've come to the end of this video. It was a very, very long topic, and I
Yeah.
know we've not shared everything. If you have anything to add on,
Yeah.
or you've gone through similar experiences
Yeah.
like us, you can just comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is
Yeah.
our very first video.
Right.
If you want to see more content like this, make sure to stay tuned to this YouTube channel. We have
I'll-
so many.
I'll also add the questions on the screen
Yeah.
as the discussion goes on, so that you guys can also feel free to answer those questions in the comment section below,
Yeah.
and share with us your experiences.
Yeah.
And we'll be coming back with more content,
Yeah.
not necessarily around the same area of discussion, but we'll try to diversify it and maybe not over diversify it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have one word to say to people out there who will feel the pressure, what will you give? Only one.
Well, ask yourself whether the pressure. Okay, one word.
Give me a good
I'm
question.
not good with one word.
One word.
Okay. It's very hard to put it into one word, but I could say. Can I give one word then explain?
No, just one
Just
word.
one word. Okay. People that are going through similar pressure.
I'll say be positive.
But that's not one word.
It means one thing. Be positive.
But you said one word.
Not like literally one word.
Okay. You're changing the rules here.
Okay, let me say resilience.
Patience.
I think that's it. So guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we are wearing shirts from the Nylot. He's
Right.
the owner of the Nylot. He has good things coming up.
Yeah, you guys can check out my Instagram page. I'm only active on Instagram right now.
Yeah.
But I have a few things on TikTok. But this was just something that I was working on for a pop-up that did not really happen.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that I'm not working on anything else. There's a lot more to come, and maybe I'll share with you guys more about the brand as days go by,
Yeah.
or as we create more content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? They might be the first ones to wear
The Nylot.
the Nylot
Yeah.
shirts. So
All right.
bye.
Thank you for watching.